What do hard rock metal acts such as Opeth, Devin Townsend, and Paradise Lost all have in common? In our continuing series examining the hard rock and metal landscape, we sit down and speak with artist manager Andy Farrow of Northern Music, where we discuss the new opportunities available to up-and-coming hard rock and metal acts in today's market, as well as what it takes to break as a new hard rock and metal act today. You don't want to miss it. Coming up. This episode of the MUBUTV Insider video series is brought to you by the Music Business Registry. The Music Business Registry is the leading music industry publisher of the most up-to-date contact information for major and independent record label A&R, music publishers, artist managers, music attorneys, music supervisors, and much, much more. The Music Business Registry is the trusted industry standard and source serving the music business community for over 30 years with the most accurate and up-to-date contact information available. Their titles include the A&R Registry, the Film and Television Music Guide, the Music Publisher Registry, and the Music Attorney Registry. All of their publications are available in PDF, CSV, or online subscription. Visit musicregistry.com and use coupon code MUBUTV10 at checkout. That's musicregistry.com, coupon code MUBUTV10. When you're ready to put your music to work, musicregistry.com. Hi, we're back here at the second annual Global Rock Summit here at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California. And we managed to catch up with Andy Farrow, who is the managing director of Northern Music Company, which manages arguably two of the biggest acts in metal, Opeth and Paradise Lost, and is one of the featured panelists here at the Global Rock Summit. Welcome, Andy, and thank you so much for joining us here at MUBUTV.
Thank you.
How's the summit been for you so far?
Obviously, this is my first day coming to the summit, so I came in 3 days before just in doing meetings. I came here last year, and it's...
Oh, so you were at the first one?
I was at the first one, so essentially the music business is so spread out. Faced with these events, it was a case, and you can have it for one, because, 1 year I did about 6 meetings a day. Ended up a hot topic, and it took hours, and New York's easier to get ranked.
Right there. Andy, let me ask you my first question. You've been active in the hard rock market for over 20 years. Is the genre, do you believe, in a healthy place?
Yeah, from my perspective, as a manager, business is better than ever because things have changed. I think a manager and the artist got a lot more power now if you're smart and, just a rules for record companies, but you release the album, which is the wheel that turns every other income stream. And rock and metal was always there. It's very international, so I have fans that play all over the world. I'm going to Romania after this. There's 5 metal festivals there. I was in Bulgaria 2 months ago, so I always look at different markets. So metal's very international. I might be put a band in Tehran, actually, which I would take the BBC in on this. So I'm looking at markets. Paradise Lost was one of the first metal bands to play Israel and stuff. So it's, rock and metal's in a very good place because you've got a solid fan base and, people buy T-shirts. It's like there's real loyalty factor. So
that's always had it.
Yeah.
Have the opportunities, do you think, in the past 5 to 7 years, do you think have they increased for brand new acts in the hard rock scene?
Well, for me, recently I've kind of taken on bands that have been 4 or 5 albums into their career and put a business around them. So I did that, Opeth from Blackwater Park, Catatonia with 4 or 5 albums in. I took on a national 2 years ago. These bands have gone up now. Adding a brand new band is very tough because record labels are doing 360 deals, which I don't like, but I do understand why they need sort of income. So I did sign a new band back at Beast Milk out of Finland. They had to change the name to Great Pleasures, and they really excited me. We reinvented the wheel musically, but I got 9 offers for them, and we just signed some.
Sony, I was just going to say, I just saw it there. Was it Epic, I believe? Or
it's in
Colombia. But yeah, there's a big buzz about it.
Yeah, very big. But, it's unfortunate with the name, but I still kept all the festivals and got it all booked. The album's going to come out September the 4th. So that was exciting, but it's still the kind of deals you get. I talked to an American manager the other day, and it's $10,000, and the band's going to make the album, and it is very hard. So if you've got somebody that's an established act. All my bands do very big merchandise. So that's, you know, and also the kind of prog crowd is slightly older.
Right.
I met with a label yesterday and they're like, have you got any young bands? I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, you know, one the kids go and see, because there's all these labels like Hopeless, Fearless, Ryan's out here. That's a different kind of scene. And I don't know whether the younger generation know about paying for music.
Right.
So I know people that they buy vinyl, they buy the t-shirt, VIP ticket.
Exactly.
They're doctors, vets, they've got money, and that's solid for business. So for me, you know, it's very good. But I would say a metal fan base worldwide is very loyal, and you can put the bands high in the charts. But you can't. It's harder sometimes to get past that, because rock is still a bit of a metal, a bit of a dirty word, you know, like, so with Brave Pleasures, Beast Milk, I was trying to get them some Eatonly, you know, like band of Skull Spawn. They sort of brought this band's a bit dark. So, you know.
Should bands start thinking today of themselves as a business?
Well, you know, some of my bands are hopeless at business and they trust me to do it all. I think it's important that you do understand what you're doing. You are a business. If you waste money, you destroy things. You know, I started in 1998, made bands on Warner's that smashed up studios, and I've had riots in venues where things that cost money. So I think it's very important for the band as a business, i.e. you get your websites, you build your social media, because, you know, 10 years, 20 years time, if there's not really record labels and direct distribution, it's all about dealing with your fan base.
Right.
And I think that, you know, some acts are very good at this, others are not. So yeah, you know, a band is a brand, but I don't like to talk about it like that, because I'm like, we say we fulfill the artist's vision, you know, but it's their art. So it's important you understand what kind of contracts you're in, that, you know, often things are recoupable. But I think if you get bogged down in business, you can lose creativity, because, you know, if you're a musician and you really knew what went on, it'd put you off.
Andy, when you or your company are considering taking on a new management client, what specific factors on a personal basis do you and your company look for besides the obvious great music?
Well, I think one, you've got to see that you can get on with people. I'm a very direct person. Some people don't know how to take me on email. I'm abrupt and I upset my staff and even some bands. But that's just how I am. And when they meet me, I'm like, look, you know, you can see I'm not much of a bastard, but it's fun. So, you know, the personality is good. I've got, let's say, I manage some interesting characters. Obviously, Devin Townsend, you know, who is now teetotal vegetarian, but in the past he was, you know, and when I managed 1 Minute Silence, a very political band, and so I dealt with characters. And so I think that creative people, you know, if you have to think like a psychologist, they're irrational. So sometimes you have to think, how am I going to get on with this person? Now, bands I managed for years, say Paradise Lost, about 24 years. So some of the band members I would class as friends, and I would go out socially with them. But it's very important now, maybe don't be too close, because it's like, I have had situations where I've done everything for a band and they get rid of you and it all becomes personal. So sometimes it's better, I think, yeah, so you meet the band and you have to think, okay, one, what is their attitude? I managed American bands, and Americans have the American dream and they work harder. English bands are a bit like you owe me a living. So it's sort of, firstly, so the personality, and I also say to a band, I need you to do 150 gigs a year. And some of them are like, we can't. Right. I also find out what their situation is, whether they're married, they've got kids, because this kind of music, you've got to go on the road.
You got to go there. As you know, breaking a new rock metal band today takes an enormous amount of time, energy, and strategic planning. You did this with Opeth. Can you talk about some of the specifics that went into that process?
Right. First thing with Opeth, basically the record label came to me. I was managing Paradise Lost on Music for Nations. They were like the biggest band, and they said, here's 6 bands, some need a manager. As Opeth was, it sounds a bit like PL. So I met with them. Their biggest thing was they're not really toured. So as soon as I took them all, so Blackwater Park, we reissued it. I went to Arch Enemy's manager and I said, look, you know, we'll take you out. So I got a good package together. And he said, oh, we don't have any money. I said, well, I'll put you on the bus, because even though they didn't pay towards the bus, but it was a good package. So we did the tickets. So the main thing with Opeth was, look at the albums, get them reissued, remarketed, and tour. Because what I used to say to the label, well, we're going to do another tour. I need a secondary or tertiary campaign. So over the years, it's been about touring, but also having events. The 20th anniversary, they did Blackwater Park. It's a benchmark album. This year's 25th, they'll be doing Ghost Reveries. Now, Ghost Reveries is a very big album. Some people go, oh, the band's prog now. So that'll please some fans, and the tickets are going to go like that. Right. And then when we announce our next tour, so then it'll be a very hot ticket band again. So it's all about events. So, you know, with OPEF, it's kind of, I'm not so involved in, they don't say, oh, here's some demos for the album. Mike does it all like that, and they'll do the artwork. But so what I do with him is, you know, support whatever he's doing musically, and then it's a case of you think, how can you build it? So I used to have them playing all these different markets. Now he's like, I'm not interested in emerging markets, because I'm always like, listen, India, Brazil, they've got rising middle class, these are brick economies. But now he is a bit like, oh, well, I'm not so interested. I mean, yeah, they played the Maldives.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like you're really pushing the envelope on trying to go into areas.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's kind of, you know, I've just got off at a festival in Beirut, but they're worried to go there. There's a massive scene. I mean, one thing we did with OPEF recently, I did the logo put into Thula Arabic, and we sold loads. It only brought a few racists out on their site, but it was like, to do that kind of, because especially in the Middle East, you know, in Islamic countries, it's kind of banned.
Right.
I mean, we actually had a gig in Jordan, and this was back in the old day with the old drummer we had to get rid of, who had a few problems, and he didn't get on the plane, and 6,000 people went there. But yeah, so, you know, going back with the marketing, it was about, you know, the band, the O symbol, the brand is very strong. So we do, you know, ad mats for touring. So we make sure our merch company's in there. There's pack shots. Even down to when the band tour, the promoters have to give us 20 posters. We sign them, we sell them. So it's been very much with them, like touring, and the marketing of the band is to take them wider. When I took the band on, they were 14-year-old fans in black T-shirts.
Right.
Now it's older, and there's girls there.
Wow.
So it's kind of changed, you know, and they are, I would say, people with professional jobs. So they've got the money. So we do a lot of high-end stuff. So it was also about my view of marketing. OPEF, I always said this band is a Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin of extreme music. And I had an argument with Roadrunner, because the first album we weren't going to put our name on the front, and the guy said, oh, look at this Devil Driver. I'm like, do not compare the two bands. Sorry, Devil Driver, but it's like, so that's how I see them. So, you know, we played the Roundhouse. We were the heaviest band there. They're the heaviest band ever to play the Royal Albert Hall. We broke a record in Sydney at Enmore Theatre for merchandise that previously the Stones had, you know, when they were smaller. They had 2,000-3,000. So
a lot of milestones.
Yeah. So my thing with them is, it's like, OPEF's an intelligent listen, and when you think of great bands like Zeppelin and Floyd, you can't sell those kind of numbers anymore. But that is how I kind of market them. And like with Devin Townsend, he is the Frank Zappa of this generation.
Many of our viewers obviously are in bands, are working towards taking their careers to the next level. What do you think are the most important factors for bands, or where they need to be to focus on achieving this, taking them to the next level?
Well, you know, the first thing is, with the internet, it's bad in that music people don't pay for it. But the other thing with the internet, you can reach a big audience. So the problem there is there's loads of rubbish out there. So if you actually look at Spotify streaming at the bottom end, so, you know, a band, I think their social media, building a fan base, touring, this is so important, because the big thing is, especially in the rock metal scene, is if you go to the gig and they're not great live, that's where you're going to build. So it's to hone their live skills. So this is a lot of touring. It's about having a good front man, and yeah, working. I would say for a band in metal, live is so important as the thing for building their band, because you've got to do it live. Because, you know, what happens is, it's like when you have bands that support. I mean, years ago, when I was sort of doing all the punk stuff, Southern Death Cult, that became the Cult, supported Theatre of Hate, and they went out there and they took the audience. And I've sometimes had some of my bands support, and I'm like, you didn't own that stage. You've got to go in. This is war.
Right.
And take the audience. You know, and there's, you know, Corrosion of Conformity, supporting Metallica.
Right.
You know, if you go out with Slayer, does it benefit you? Because the audience is very partisan, but it's so important. So if you're brilliant live, you go out and do it. And one thing I've seen, American bands, and I manage a lot of Swedish bands, musically they're superb. The Swedes are very good. I don't know if it's all the darkness in Scandinavia, but also when you see American bands at festivals, they put on a show and they go in and really fight for their place. So live is so important because there's too many, you know, you have shoegaze bands and stuff like that, but it's some band will mumble on, you don't even know who they are. So if you're supporting, make sure you've got your logo on the drum kit, you say who you are, your album, that's the important thing, because otherwise you're missing an opportunity.
Some great food for thought with Andy regarding managing and developing careers in the hard rock metal scene today. Insiders, question of the day. What stood out to you in our conversation with Andy? Was it how you should think of yourself as a business? Or was it the new opportunities that have arisen for new acts? Or was it the enormous amount of time and energy and strategic planning it takes to break a new rock metal band today? Or was it something else that connected with you? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks as always for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to MUBUTV for more information on how to educate, empower, and engage your music career. In addition, we recently put together a free guide on the most important factors to look for when seeking out a manager for your music career. This is one of the most critical choices you will make in building your team. So if you're interested in receiving it, we've included a link to that in the description below. It's totally free and goes through the top do's and don'ts before you even think about reaching out to a manager, such as, where am I at in my music career? How much of an audience have I built out on my own? Does the manager understand how the music business works and functions today? Do they have established relationships within the music industry? And if not, are they committed to building the necessary relationships needed for your career? This guide will provide you with some of the most crucial questions and other factors you need to be aware of and asking yourself when making a decision regarding this most important aspect of building your team. So if you're interested in receiving that, we'll link to it in the description below. You can also check out a summary of this episode and everything we talked about in the YouTube description as well. And if you enjoyed this video, we'd really love it if you'd hit the like button and let us know what other kinds of videos and types of content you would want to see on our channel. Hit us up in the comments below. And we'll see you in the next video.